joints whatsoever. Raft. One of the things that in our day and age, if you want to study siyasat al-Shari'iyya, the nature of Islamic politics, one of the things that is too bitter for Muslims to swallow is the issue of oppression. Rightfully so, and that's a healthy heart. When we see oppression, it's hard. But sometimes you just got to let it be. And you've got to raise your hands to Allah Ta'ala, and you've got to be on the side of good, such that when there's fallout in the fitna, like there's those who are injured, those who need medical advice, those who need food supplies, those humanitarian efforts, mashallah, tabarakallah. But as for sort of flaming the fire of war, no. As Allah Ta'ala says, until war, what's the word? That it lets go of its sin. It abandons its sin, abandons its bed. Because the nature of war is not good. War is never good. And Syria is a classic case. And if people are going to still talk about Syria, and now you got 90, conservative estimate, 1,000 people who have died, Muslims shed, and you're still going to promote war in Syria? You shouldn't have been promoting it in the first place. Shouldn't have been trying to raise the black flag of jihad, quote unquote, in the first place. No. There was only one way that was going to go. You hadn't even studied history only 20 years ago, the way it went with the leaders of Syria. What they do when people stand against them. They don't care who's watching. There's going to be violent suppression of anyone who tries to stand against the Syrian regime. And I lived in Syria 3 years. I know Syria. There's only one way that was going to go. And so people then who were going to sort of stand against and you made a really bad call there, really bad call. And what you should have did is study the books of the fuqaha and listen to the fuqaha. Because if you take any school of fiqh, they would have said the same thing. It was not right to do what you did. To stand up against them was illegitimate. That's what all the schools of law. This is not my opinion. This is something we've studied with our teachers. When the issue arose, went back to our teachers over and over again. Even a lot of us were not understanding. Khalas. And that Syrian regime is tyrannical. Believe me, I lived there. And there's one person who don't like them, it's the faqir. But at the same time, what's it got to do whether I like them or whether I don't like them? Get the point? That's not to do with that. But it's to do with that innocent child, that innocent woman, that innocent old man who's going to be killed for the sake of somebody else's argument. What have they got to do with it? As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that verse has greater implication than Jahiliyyah the Ma'uda, that when the one who is buried is asked and raised Yawm al-Qiyamah, what was the sin that you committed to be killed in such a way? There's lots of Ma'udat inside of Syria now, buried beneath the rubble of Syria because of what? Because ultimately of people's desire for power. Not desire for what? To render to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If it's rendered to Allah ta'ala, let it be. Allah takes care of his affair. Do you think you're going to hasten the affair of God? You forgot the way the world works. Allah Ta'ala will bring about his fair. Like yutim hadal amar. The Prophet in Mecca said that when Sayyidina Khabbab ibn al-Rat, he comes to the Prophet ﷺ and he asked the Prophet, they're being killed, slaughtered, tortured inside of Mecca. The Prophet is at the Kaaba and he's got his shawl and he's sleeping at the Kaaba in the midst of all of this. And we now as Muslims, we like, astaghfirullah, what type of prophet are you? You're watching your people killed, you're watching your people tortured, you're watching your people, you're even sending them away out of the city. As Abdurrahman ibn Auf, kunna fi izzin wa nahnu mushrikun. We were powerful people as disbelievers, and now we become cowards. Give us permission to fight. That's what they're saying, men of steel. The Prophet ﷺ, when they come, Khabbab ibn al-Rat, dua ya Rasulullah. The Prophet ﷺ gets angry and says, dua? They're the people who went before you, who suffered a lot worse than you, such that they would be taken and their flesh would be stripped from their nerves because of la ilaha illallah. He says, Wallah la yutimmu hadha al-amar. God will complete his affair. وَلَكِنْ أَنْتُمْ قَوْمٌ تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. But you're a hasty people. You don't know the art of patience. He says that statement in Mecca with all that has taken place inside of Mecca. We've got to learn a bit of that. We've got to learn a bit of what the Prophet actually came with. And that is not the way of cowardice, but that's the way of bravado. It's the way of bravado. And that's the way of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.